When trying to factorise or to solve a quadratic, uh, you've got to try to find the values of x. And when the question here says factorise, then you don't. So if it says solve, that indicates that it's equal to something, and then you can find values of x. If it just gave you that expression and it said factorise, then that's a slightly different question. But this solve does include factorising. It's called factoring in US English. You would factor this, but we would call it in British English factorising with an S. So we'd factorise this by trying to put it into two pairs of brackets. And we can say that the first two terms have to be x and x to get x squared. So this term times this term must give x squared. If you expanded it out, that times that equals, well, the x squared is the first term. Now, the next part is to try to work out what two numbers multiply to make 5. And there's only a combination here of 1 and 5. You could have 1 and 5, or you could have -1 and -5. Both of these multiply together to give you 5. And we have to decide which one of these two options is option 1 or is option 2 that we would put in the end part of the bracket. If we were to put the first option in there, that would be a +1 and a +5. If we expanded this out, we would get 5x from this one, so 5x there, and we would also get a 1x, and if you add them together, you get 6x, which is what the question is asking for, plus 6x. So this one is the correct answer. But if I were to write here x minus 1, x minus 5, then that would give me x squared minus 6x plus 5. And that one isn't the correct answer, so we know that, well, actually what I've written here doesn't make sense. That should be plus 6x plus 5. Now, having factorised this, I can write that again as x plus 1, x plus 5 equals 0. I've got to now work out what my two values of x would be. Notice that these two numbers just multiply together. So this could be 3, and this could be 7. Now 3 times 7 does not equal 0. The only way that this equals 0 is if I were to make one of these numbers 0. So if x plus 1 was 0, then x would have to be -1. If I substitute -1 into this, -1 plus 1 is 0. And then 0 times anything is 0. So this one works. And alternatively, if I said that this bracket was 0, then that would mean that x was -5. So if I were to put x is -1 or x is to -5 into this equation, it would be 0. And because this equation is the same as that one, if I put -1 into that or -5 into that, that would also be 0. And that has made my solution. I've worked out what my two values of x are. I should write x1 and x2. How could I work out then the second example? How is this any different? Well, I could factorise this in hopefully the same sort of way. So it's going to be x in my first bracket, x in my second bracket, and I have to try to find two values of -14 that add up to make +5. And if I can't work it out, I could just list them all. So my first one could be -1 times 14, but they add up to make 13. What about -2 and 7? They add up to 5. So now I can replace this with a -2 and that with a +7. And that is factorised. Then to solve this means that here I've said that x would have to equal 2, because 2 minus 2 is 0. And from this one I can say that x is -7, because -7 plus 7 is 0. So that's one solution, that's my second solution.